the government CCCH learned of this ongoing encounter, it took you about 5 hours to arrive at the CCCH, to arrive at the camp of Commander Guma of the 105th of MILF.
Sir, the problem is the CCCH, the main bulk of the CCCH then is escorting the IDD.
Escorting?
We are escorting the Independent Decommissioning Board at Iligan City. If we have the prior knowledge, we will immediately go to Cotabato City. The problem now is being the representative of the chairman, it is very, very vital that I'm supposed to do.
What I'm trying to do here is trying to find ways to shorten that time.
Yes, sir.
The time from 6:30 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon is an alarmingly long time.
Yes, sir.
And as we now know, by 1 o'clock, all 44 that were dead, but were killed, were already dead.
Yes.
So we have to, it took you until 12:30 to talk. Now, what was the agreement arrived at the meeting with the commander of 105th, Ustad Sakaria Goma, who's the base commander of 105th?
Sir, to effect this ceasefire, sir, through going through the protagonist, individual protagonist, by having two joint ceasefire teams. But by
your own declaration, you were only able to say that the ceasefire had actually begun at 4 p.m. Why is that?
When already the engagement and gun battle started, there is a need for physical presence on the ground, and you cannot just penetrate on the ground without coordinations with the protagonist. And there is a necessity really that the two teams should be visible on the ground, because you cannot separate them.
The JCCT was already in a dialogue with the commander at 11:45.
Sir, the house of Sakaria Goma is still more or less 25 to 30 minutes going to the area.
But that still brings you only until noon time. What happened from noon to 4 p.m.? Why was there continued fighting?
Sir, there is an attempt to enter immediately, but the fighting is still ongoing. That's why
that's what I'm trying to get at. How do we shorten that period from the time that you contact the commanders of the MILF saying that these are government troops that are being fired upon until the actual ceasefire? That we want to shorten that process. Why did it take so long? Maybe Chairman Iqbal, you can help us here. Since the commander of the 105th, the Commander Goma, had already been informed by, let us say, 11:30, that the troops in front of them were government troops. Why did the fighting not stop?
On my side, Your Honor, we have an internal arrangement that although I am the chair of the Malapis panel, and directly the CCCH will report to me, but on operational matters, our arrangement is that the head of the CCCH would report directly to the highest military commander of the MILF. So that in effect, what happened was that it was only around 11 o'clock that I was informed about the fighting in Mamasapano. Yes. And we had a meeting during that time.
Understood. But that is exactly what happened. They went to the highest MILF commander at 11:30. To include travel time, by 12 o'clock, he should have been able to tell his men to cease fire.
No, Your Honor, it's about my information about the encounter, not the information of the CCCH to our highest military commander. That has been ongoing already.
The question, Chairman, is why did it take so long for the MILF side to stop shooting at our policemen from 11:30 until 4 o'clock? That's a very long time. It's 4.5 hours.
I think the CCCH of government and the MILF are in a better position to explain that. But it was an encounter, and the volume of firing is so large and so great that practically people cannot penetrate the battle zone.
But you see from the text messages that the PNP SAP was already beginning to withdraw. We have learned that at 1 o'clock, some of the reinforcements that the Army sent were also being told to withdraw. How come we do not have the corresponding orders from the MILF side to withdraw?
I have no personal knowledge about that, Your Honor.
Okay, well, that is one of the things that we really have to look that I am looking at, so that we can improve the system in the BBL. Maybe Professor Ferrer or Sec Gindeles, maybe you can help us with this. How do we make it better?
Sir, there's no substitute for coordination on this matter.
But they had coordinated. They started coordinating at 6. Never mind the coordination.
They had to meet
beforehand.
and discuss the strategy, and they did that at 11 o'clock at the house of Zacaria Goma, 105th Commander, together with the commander of the 118, which was who is Wahid Tundok. They had to agree on a strategy. They met in a different municipality, which is not Mamasapano. It was in a different municipality, and then they went back there to undertake their own respective
Aren't those,
assignments.
you say they have to agree on a strategy. Aren't those set in place already? Those we keep been referring to them as mechanisms.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Your Honor. But they had to agree as who will do what. For instance, who will go to the MILF side to tell them at the same time that the message is being transmitted to the SAF side. Because it cannot happen that one would stop fighting and the other would still continue fighting, and everybody will think that there's no ceasefire again. Therefore, it had to be coordinated well on both sides. And in this case, the only way to communicate it to the fighters of the MILF was to go there physically, to call on them, because the text messages were not working. The cell phone communication was not very
But
good.
General Galvez already at 10:34 sent the text to Ladyasan saying we already gave advice to the PNP to cease fire. They had
Yes,
already
sir. That
done
is advice. You have to implement it on the ground. And Ladyasan could not enter the place until about 1:30 when they attempted. But when the shooting still continued, they had to withdraw because this team, Your Honor, were not armed. They came there without arms. They entered the area and they tried to separate the forces.
So we have not established some kind of communication, a hotline even, that we can always communicate with the commanders that there is this crisis that has to be resolved.
If there was a clear line of command at that time, sir, then maybe the communication would have been established on both sides. But at that time, the lines of command were not very clear on the side of the MILF, because this was not a planned operation on their part. This was spontaneous action on the part of the people there who were confronted with that kind of situation. There was no communication between their commander and the people on the ground, which meant that the commander had to actually go there to tell them to stop firing.
The commander did not have coordination with the people who were actually doing the fighting.
No, sir, because they did not know that there was going to be a fight.
So, but once the fight had started, hindi
Yes, sir, they had to go there. They had
Hindi
to.
na makausap yung
Hindi
tao
na
niya.
po, kasi pati yung communication line, maybe if you go to the area, you will find that the signal is not very good in that area.
Fair enough. Maybe those are the things that we can improve on. General Galvez, in the form of a critique, how would you suggest that we shorten the time from the time that this crisis begins until a ceasefire is declared? Paano natin pagandahin at maging wag naman na 11 hours, kahit naman isang oras man lang, minutes rather than hours sana?
Sir, I believe you're right that we have some sort of a communication line like a hotline. But I would like also to emphasize that, sir, by experience, it's really very hard that to separate two opposing forces when they started. I have an experience recently on February 15, wherein the Basilan-based commander, 104th Brigade, conducted same strike operations against the ASG. He informed me at 10 o'clock in the evening, and 5:30 they strike. And they informed me, so with that prior knowledge on the 10 o'clock in the evening, it gave me necessary time to prepare. Who will contact who, what, and when. In this case, we are in a
How did that work? Please explain to us how that communication, that coordination that you say, how did that work?
Sir, last February 15, I was informed by 104 Brigade Commander Colonel Bautista about the test mission of the SR will be striking an important terrain under the HG that will cut off Makalang and the Makalang under Norhasan, and also will cut off the Corelem. He informed me 30. As he said, Bok, we will operate tomorrow morning at 5:30. So please inform the higher quarters and higher echelon of the it's only not within 24 hours. And then at 5:30 when the operation started, I immediately called Ladyasan. Then I immediately called the Western Front commander of the
Your Honor, I'm sorry. May I interject? Can we just remind the general here to not be too specific in his response, because these are operations, and I think these are still ongoing operations. So security matters, Your Honors.
General Galvez, upon the advice, please limit yourself to the processes of coordination between the ADJAGs and the CCCH.
So I believe that the important thing here is at the multiple level. For example, in my case as chairman, and also I will operate at the level of the chairman, the Western Front commander, and then the 104th Brigade commander will go to 114th BC, and then also the ADJAG counterpart with the MILF and the GPH. During that time, the distance between the MILF and the AFP is only 100 meters. But the coordination was made that a radio was put on the MILF camp using our radio in the two camps of the MILF. So in this, to cut it short, in this kind of operation, prior knowledge is very important, so that the CCCH and the ADJAG will have at least enough preparation on the coordination matters between the MILF. The secrecy of the operation still was maintained, but the coordination was made very succinctly and very swiftly.
Well, when things go according perfectly as planned, then it all works out. But when how many plans go perfectly as planned? So that's why this is what we have to prepare for. So anyway, I will just I will probably conduct an entire hearing just on this process. So Sec Gindeles, please, if you can prepare, and then General Galvez, General Orense, if you can prepare some of the suggestions that you might have that we can put into the BBL. Ilagay na natin sa batas para maging matibay ang coordination process na hindi na mangyari ulit ito. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Marcos.
Madam Chair, excuse me, Madam Chair.
Yes, Secretary De Lima.
Just to be of help on that point, no, on the processes, I just need to share this. May I call the attention of the committee about revised joint AFP-PNP operational guidelines for the ADJAG. This was promulgated, or this is dated July 23, 2013, because of the line of questioning of Senator Marcos. There's a specific provision about, and this goes, during law enforcement operations, AFP-PNP shall establish direct linkage with GPH forces in the area. In case armed confrontation is about to happen or is happening between the AFP-PNP and MILF forces as a result of law enforcement operations coordinated by the ADJAG, the GPH ADJAG shall simultaneously inform GPH ADJAG Corps and CCH components to resolve the situation. If conflict escalates, ADJAG shall refer the matter to higher authorities. But we do not know exactly what higher authorities are being referred to in this particular provision. Indeed, I was also going over this issuance or issuances, because there have been several operational guidelines already on the matter. It seems that there are several provisions which are rather ambiguous and susceptible to varying interpretations. The coordination, the 24-hour rule, and then this one. Who exactly are the higher authorities that need to be consulted when the conflict or the fighting escalates? So for the guidance, Your Honor, of this committee.
Madam Chair, if I may just respond, I would be my committee that is actually hearing the Bangsamoro Basic Law would find it very useful for any observations that the Secretary De Lima would like to give us, so that we can incorporate it into our discussions and then find ways to, as I said, strengthen and make more robust this entire system, so we no longer have this kind of crisis. Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Senator Marcos. Now with Senator Legarda, your 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since this is, I realize, the last hearing, and all of us have sat here for 5 long sessions.